Courage or crazy? Courage to get through life and a whole lot of crazy to survive life. Trapper, Teresa, and Cheryl, your ambassadors of courage or crazy. Sharing life with you, uncensored and unfiltered. Real life, real people, real courage, real crazy.
Welcome to another episode of Courage or Crazy. Today we're going to answer a question from one of our listeners. So we got a message from them that said, I have watched your launch podcast. How in the world do three people work so well together? So, as we're all chuckling, okay. I'm going to let Teresa start with this one, and then I'm going to interject some stuff.
How do three people work so well together? And we do for the most part. It's been very natural, being the last piece coming into this, to work with both of you. Thankfully, I've had years of working with Cheryl. Trapper, he's really easy to work with because I never see him. He's a voice that comes out of the phone. That's all. I mean, no.
And he doesn't show up for our launch video.
I Technically, we didn't show up for our launch video either.
True.
Okay, that's like a dual thing here. Let's.
Okay.
So
all right.
this is the
accept
behind the scenes of this one. But I mean, I think what was important for me coming into this was knowing that each one of us has our wheelhouse, our lane, so to speak, our strength. I know what I'm bringing, and I know where my strengths are. And I ain't ever going to step on anybody's toes with, oh, no, I want to write this. Or, oh, no, I want to create the, documents in G Drive that help, the Excels, the sheets, all that stuff. And to me, that means a lot because I think if you're going to work together, you need to be willing to kind of stay
in your lane.
Get out of my lane. Don't tell me.
Yeah.
I would love for either you or Trapper, though, to tell me one time how to do.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, Teresa. Just so you know, Teresa is our producer.
I am the producer.
She is our definite producer. So, Trapper, why don't you talk about that missing link in the 16 years to think when we're actually working together?
Well, the birth of Courage or Crazy has been stuck in conversation for 16 years, between you and I, Cheryl.
Right.
And always a great idea, always motivated, always great ideas about content and a vision, but not
failure
between
to
my
launch.
skill set and your skill set. And maybe also, lack of time to commit to producing something, we weren't able to make it a reality. And so, like Teresa hit it on the head, like she's known you, I've known you. I'm getting to know Teresa. I love Teresa.
Thanks.
But we haven't had much time together. I think that really the connector was you, right? Like you brought a couple people together that we all have different skill sets, and decided that after 1.5 decades, let's figure out how to make this happen.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think what made it so easy is that all three of us come from maybe similar experiences but different backgrounds. So I do know, like, we all have our own little niche of things. So adding Teresa as the third person in the trio made things much smoother. So I think it allowed, for folks like myself and you, Cheryl, to take the idea and concept, discuss it with Teresa, and Teresa figure out the gaps and how to make it happen.
Yeah.
And so I think that the journey of 16 years I mean, it was fun and a lot of laughs, but
It
I
was.
mean, literally now, like, shit's got real, right? Like, we have a
Right.
producer,
It's
and
real. And we're getting questions from listeners. I mean,
Right? We're
holy
getting
crap.
comments, we're getting follows, and I do agree with what Trapper said. You are kind of like, you're the central piece of this, Cheryl. I mean, if the scenario events had been different,
Right. It would have led us down different paths.
we all would have
been different paths.
exactly.
Well, we're going to do a podcast here very soon about working with partners. And so we're going to go totally in depth, a lot more of what it's like for three people to work together. And, I mean, we've had an in depth discussion among the three of us that we really do, whoever you work with, I don't care if it's a marriage or a partnership in the business world or whether it's just two friends that have managed to sustain the length of many, many years of friendship. Like Teresa said in the beginning, it's knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, knowing, not trying to do it all, not trying to step over somebody else's lane. In this partnership, in general terms, Teresa is our producer. Trapper is amazing at writing, although he needs help with staying on task once in a while. So, I mean, he needs us to call him out on his shit. We all need everybody to call us out on our shit.
Yeah.
Like if I'm
Well, the creation
Yeah.
of the logo.
right.
So, as the creative force for a lot of things, as I'm creating the logo, and I had a lot of days I'm getting frustrated because, I present a logo and one person is saying this, the other person is saying
Right.
this, and I feel like my head's going to explode.
Right.
And it finally hit in my head, okay, we're three personalities
Mhm.
and we're trying to come together to create one thing.
Right.
You're going to have to take a little from here and a little from here. And
Mhm.
it's about that ebb and flow, that being willing to be able to bend and kind of go. We know Trapper needs help with staying on task.
Right. So
Not
we
a
help him
problem.
with that.
So we help him. We don't
Right.
need to talk about what we do to help him.
Right. And so
So now the world knows that me, Trap, is the problem and the challenge in this trio relationship.
no, that's not true.
No, it's not, because
But,
yeah,
that's not
I
true.
I think our namesake, right, who we are, Courage or Crazy, in order to have courage comes from a place of as a human, whether it be some anxiety or stress or fear, whatever the case might be. Courage is comes from those emotions, and
Exactly.
so when you brought all three of us together, I mean, over 16 years, I've bought 2 microphones and I've Googled a podcast how many times. And, they give you the cute instructions of, plug in your microphone and you just record, and then like the whole world's going to listen to you.
And you can do
you might
that.
be number 1 or top 5 of Apple podcasts there, if you're lucky. And, for me, in all the years we talked about it, I always had some apprehension because in my world, I come from the public relations communications world. We're working with the media. We're doing websites. We're, graphic designing for clients. We're rebranding corporations. We're doing social impact, who a company is in a community. And when it comes to doing it for yourself, I found a lot of apprehension.
Yeah,
because
it's a lot different.
One, I don't produce podcasts. I know
Right.
nothing really about them. So when you brought us all together, even in the 10 or 15-minute conversation we had when you brought us all on the phone, I really liked Teresa. I mean, that helped.
It does help. We like each other.
We like each other. That's a key. If you don't,
by human nature, in the first 7 minutes, what you think of a person,
That's
right?
true.
When you meet them,
Very.
That's true.
Are you like them? Are you interested in them? Is it a stay away type situation? And so in those first 10 minutes, I really liked Teresa's energy and vibe from a place and a person and a professional that I plan everything out. I know what I want the end result to be. The apprehension wasn't there, but there was some fear, right? Like it took some courage to say, wow,
Definitely.
we're really going to pull the trigger and share so much about who we are personally and professionally, and a look into our life. And so in the spirit of our namesake, I think, to work together has taken a heck of a lot of courage.
Amen.
Definitely.
Definitely.
And the crazy has made it easier to find the courage.
Well, just
You
being
know,
part
we
of this
can
crew. We're
we
good.
can talk shit. We can share. We share stressful moments together,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Like
Uh-huh.
some of the things we share with each other are probably not things that Teresa would normally share with someone that she's only met for a couple months.
Right.
And we laugh about it. We get through it, and that craziness has, for myself,
Mhm.
helped find the courage to say, okay, Teresa, press the button, and yeah, let's go live. Let's share
Yeah.
our world and testimony with the
Well,
rest
yeah.
of the world.
It takes
And
it takes a lot.
That thing
it
that Trapper
does.
just said about the fear
Uh-huh.
as we were coming into it, here's a completely honest moment. I thought about messaging you guys last week. When your podcast went up about your journey, I was perfectly good. Everything's fine. Trapper's perfectly good. I'm fine. The moment I scheduled mine, I was
Panic mode.
freaking out. I mean, literally, my brain was screaming like, whoa, are we really doing... Or you realize what you said? Yes, I've listened to myself say it like 500 million times, okay?
Right.
I know what I said. Shut up. And it was like, became this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I actually had a moment, my brain actually engaged. You can delete it. You're in charge of this. You can delete it.
Right.
You still have time to back out.
Mm-hmm.
I felt the same way, Teresa. I had a little bit of anxiety.
Right?
I was like, let Cheryl go first. Fuck that bitch, okay?
Yeah.
Let her go first. Like, let's put her shit out there first. My turn.
And then
I
you guys
literally,
were
like,
just
my heart
gonna
was racing a
delete
little
You
bit,
were
and I
going to
kept
leave,
saying,
you
like,
dragon.
it's not too late to turn around, Trap. Like,
Trapper, I'm so glad. I know what, but it's the reason I didn't is because you and Trapper, we
committed.
We committed. We're gonna do
Yep.
this. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna keep it real. We're gonna be the
Right.
real people.
Yep.
So
We've said we're going to keep it real. It's real life. It's real people.
but
it's
there
real
was part of
courage.
me. My hand kept finding
Yeah.
its way to that mouse. Like I can delete this. It's so fast. So fast.
And I find a lot of trust in both of you, and the question from our loyal listener is, I think, great, because at this moment we get to share what we thought and felt launching and getting to this point.
Mhm.
But Cheryl, you have a similar background to me. We do a lot of business coaching, a lot of rebranding to corporations,
Mm-hmm.
and it's easy. It's easy to give great advice and great coaching and tell others how to do it
Right.
and help them do
Exactly.
it, right?
Exactly.
And now, in this moment, doing, and I'll self-admit, like, staying on task is a little bit challenging for me at the moment. And maybe it is a little bit of apprehension or fear sometimes. I don't know what it is. But doing it for yourself is entirely fucking different.
It
It
really is.
It
It's
takes courage.
interesting.
It
I
does.
mean,
Teresa,
this
it's
is my
amusing to me.
job.
Yeah.
This is what I do is I record the podcast for other clients.
Right.
And I give them the suggestions and I give them the tips and this is where
Mm-hmm.
it is so different.
It is.
Being
It
the
is.
one, not only am I doing all the behind the scenes that nobody sees, but being on the microphone.
Right.
And only for you would I do this.
And it can be intimidating, And
Well,
It can
yeah.
be.
It can be. And, I listen to our podcast, okay, this might be weird, but a lot of times I'm laying in bed at night and then I listen to our podcasts because we hear them, obviously. We're sitting here in this room, we hear them. But then when you listen to it afterwards, and it's kind of like when you do a presentation or when you're, when you send an estimate or a proposal to a client or when you're trying to express to maybe your husband or wife or your significant other, like something that's bothering you, when you re-listen to it in your head, and in our case, we actually re-listen to it,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Oh, I
always like,
listen-
oh
have
my
to
God, I
listen
should
to
have
it.
said that instead. Oh, wait, like he or she would have taken that the wrong way. I shouldn't have said it that way. Oh my God, listen to my voice. It sounds like shit. Like seriously, it's like so much crazy thoughts that go through your head in order for you to accept the courage that
Mhm.
it took to do that.
Okay, now we're going to drop you behind the veil as
And
a
it's,
producer.
it's super funny to me because, Cheryl, you and I, in the marketing world, we help people share their story.
Yeah,
What we want,
exactly.
what we want customers or niche demographics to see, feel, understand, and connect with. This one is our personal one.
It
And
is.
I find Teresa's very amusing to me as our producer because obviously she's been producing podcasts for other clients of hers,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
but she's also a photographer.
Uh-huh.
Teresa has a lifetime of experience sharing people's story through the lens,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the most powerful forms of art and expression, right? Of sharing, I mean, images, right?
Exactly.
And if you look at social media, if you look at websites, if you Time Magazine, it's images document history, people,
Yep.
events.
Mm-hmm.
And so Teresa intrigues me, and I find her very amusing because and it's been a little challenging experience of working with both of you because I'm not in control.
Right.
As a professional, I'm always in control of the messaging, the
Mm-hmm.
brand, the statements, what we say, what we're not going to say.
Right.
And I've put in all that faith into Teresa as our artiste, right?
Right.
She's the barista of our lives.
Right.
And
boy,
it
does
is
she have a
challenging
task.
sometimes.
She never knows what's going to come out of our damn mouths.
And she does such great work. And all I can say is that anyone that wants to collaborate with anyone, even if they're just doing it on themselves, you have to have that view of a Teresa in your life, right? Like, she's very talented. And, we tell people in our own world, don't try to manage a media crisis on your own because you're not a subject matter expert in dealing with the media, right?
Yeah.
Or Cheryl, you tell folks developing a business, you got to do X, Y, and Z. Don't do it without it.
Mm-hmm.
And probably for the first time in our lives, Cheryl,
Mhm.
we're silenced a little bit because we're taking Teresa's our subject matter expert, right?
Right.
Like,
Well,
how
and
she
just
puts
so
our
everybody,
stories.
let's make it perfectly clear, Trapper. She came on board. She came on board, and we love that she came on board. She truly is our missing link. But she also is very proud to say that she's the dominant
I
one.
am the dominant bossy one. I have been my entire life. Thank you very much. Take that however the hell you want to.
You
I
know,
don't
and when
care.
you say missing link, when we first said that, it meant something different to me then than when we say it today. When we first said she's our missing link, in my mind it's like, yeah, she is. We need a producer. We need someone that knows how to do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Today, when I think of missing link, it's entirely different. Like, she is the dominant one. She keeps us on task. She produces. She edits. She's redefining our brand, and it's been it's taken a lot of courage to put that trust in someone else. For
Right.
people like myself and you, Cheryl, that have been, we're a dominant authority in our workspaces, and we're always in control of those things. So it's been interesting and a good experience.
It has been.
And for me, it's been the courage. There's a lot. I mean, jumping on, being your producer would have been one thing entirely. I know how to do that and be very comfortable and have absolutely no problem with clients just telling them, okay, you need to do A through Z.
Right.
This is what I need from you.
Mhm.
Or, I'm starting to notice this through this. You need to make a change.
Right.
But when we first got started, I had no expectation I would be sitting on a microphone.
Right.
That's not what I do.
But you do. That's courage.
You take up all of our microphone time.
So,
my job is to listen as you guys talk on the microphones, and I'm just really quiet. So,
yeah.
in that, as an added level of this, group, learning, I trust you. I've known you for how many years, but having to very quickly get to a point of trusting Trapper,
Right.
who is he's a voice on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know Trapper. Do I talk about this? I don't know if I talk about this.
Right. What's Trapper going to do with that? What is he? Is he
Yeah.
going to? What's his
And
opinion
the
going
same
to
for
be?
Trapper with me. I'm sure. I
Right.
don't know this woman.
Well, and we all
this
have.
is the bitch that
Yeah.
stole my gal pal when she dumped me and left for Southern Arizona.
And it's interesting because we didn't get a lot of let's just say personal time of get to know
Yeah.
each other.
It was
right? Like,
no.
I've known Cheryl forever. You've known Cheryl.
Yeah.
Like, for me and Teresa, there was no like dating. It was just like
Yeah,
we're on the phone. The
we
next
like
week we start.
You got married.
And
Yeah.
It's like, what is that 90-day what is that show?
I don't
your
know.
90-day fiance or 90-day marriage or
Whatever the heck.
something,
I don't
yeah.
watch it, obviously.
I don't
Sorry for
watch
you people that do,
Yeah.
but I don't watch it. I just see it, like,
Yeah.
but
Trapper and I didn't even get thrown into the frying pan.
No.
We like missed the frying pan and went straight
to
into
the
the
Cheryl
fire.
has no patience, so she's not doing that 90-day fiance shit.
Right?
She's like, you guys got 6 hours to seal the deal.
Yeah.
right. Well, and that's, I mean, honestly, someone has to fill the role of crazy.
No.
I mean, like, seriously.
But our namesake and brand, Courage or Crazy.
Courage or
and,
Crazy.
The crazy has helped find and navigate the courage, at least for myself, because you don't realize how much courage it actually takes until you're the
Right.
one sharing your own personal testimonies of things or opinions or thoughts, and it's scary because I don't know if our audience is going to be offended by our language, offended by our topics, or anything, but the crazy has helped the courage emerge. And we've all been through so much in life already that we feel it's taking courage to get through it, and we've been batshit crazy to kind of survive it. But this takes on a whole different meaning of courage, at least for me. It's been a very humbling experience.
Yeah, it has. And here's, I mean, we have spent probably 20 minutes now talking on one simple question and this is the thing that prompted you and I, Trapper, to have 16 years of conversations about courage or crazy. One simple question. This is such an example of courage or crazy.
It really is.
One simple question that says, how in the world do three people work together so well?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the simple answer is because we have courage intermingled with crazy.
Mm-hmm.
As is the case with so many things in life, which started the 16-year journey of launching this and helping everybody as we step into our roles of courageousness to throw out all this shit that we're throwing out. But it does take that in anybody getting along, in friendships. You have to have the courage to speak your truth.
Yeah.
You have to have the courage to throw it out there and let another human being know you're vulnerable and know that you trust them and value and respect them enough that you're going to give them your vulnerability and you trust them to hold on to it and share in that vulnerability. That's where true courage comes. True courage comes from knowing that something scares the living shit out of you, but doing it anyway. And the easier way to get you through the times in your life when you're fearful and you have to pull that deep down courage is to honestly look at it and go, you know what? The world is crazy. I'm just a cog in this big wheel, and we're all kind of batshit crazy. And if you throw that crazy in there, all of a sudden you're laughing in the middle of dealing with the most courageous thing you've ever done in your life. And it's that combination in life. It is truly that combination that drew me 16 years ago to have this conversation with Trapper and begin to understand that you can't have one without the other necessarily. I mean, it's so intertwined, and courage or crazy is such a combination of just life. And that's how we can get along, because we understand that we understand the courage, we understand the pain that each one of us has gone through, even though it's been different in our life journeys. It has some similarities, definitely, but it's been different, and it's from our soul, very personal perspective. But when we throw it out there and somebody else can help us look at the crazy, then the courage becomes so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true. And I told you, over 16 years, every time we have a conversation, I sometimes used to find myself in situations thinking, damn, I'm like the only person. And it's human nature. You keep forging ahead. It doesn't matter if it's a personal relationship, professional relationship, parenting, finances, just life. And sometimes we get in our car at the end of the day and think, fuck, what am I going to do? not everyone has a Cheryl in their life. And, our mission at Courage or Crazy is not to teach people how to have $1 million lives and life brands, but, anytime anyone listens to an episode, I hope that their takeaway is that they're not the only one dealing with stuff in life. Others have survived it. And then we've used a lot of crazy to survive it, and finding strength and courage in our personal journeys.
Exactly. So, it's what we always say. So, to our listener, thank you for taking the time out to ask us a question. We so appreciate it. And we hope we have done it justice, even though as in typical fashion with the three of us, we wander around before we get to our point a lot. But, the simple answer is it takes courage to get through life and a whole lot of crazy to survive life.
All right. Now, as the dominant, bossy one, as the producer, Trapper, the time on the wall says it's time for you to do your thing for the end of this podcast.
This is why I exist, because I'm the closing, you guys. To all our valued listeners and our audience, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Courage or Crazy. We love hearing from you. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. You can email us. We want to hear your questions, and we hope you tune in to our next episode of Courage or Crazy.